Good morning, friends.
Good morning.
It's Matt Greer again and Sarah Langworthy welcoming you back for the second day of the Quintessence Virtual Choral Festival. About 30 or 40 of you have already been up and participating in Kira Rose Harrison's yoga session, which was wonderful. So thank you for doing that, and be sure to come back tomorrow. Sarah, how are you doing this morning? We made it through the first day.
We made it through the first day. It was a great day. There was lots of great participation in sessions, and also lots of great questions, which about like how do we do the thing. So I know we're going to get to that, but in general, it was a really great day. A great way to start the week, and here we are in day 2 of 5. Again, whose idea was this?
I don't know, but I would like to talk to him. Yeah, I was so pleased with basically everything went really well yesterday. And we had great participation from the very beginning with Amy's session, which was wonderful. We had great fun with Paul Smith. And then the panel discussion with Alice Parker, Kiki Wilson, and Ann Howard-Jones last night could still be going on if we had not cut them off. They were having such a great time talking, and we had great questions from participants. And it's just, that's something that I will always treasure, being able to do that. And it would not have happened if we weren't in this virtual space. So all of those sessions are up and available to view on HeyZoom on the individual pages. Is that right, Sarah?
Yes, Hey Summit.
Okay.
There's a HeyZoom. We're just like merging platforms now. It's fine. Yes, so all of those sessions should be available on the replay tab. So if you go up to Hey Summit and kind of up on the top menu bar there, you'll have a replays tab, and you can go and watch all of those sessions, including the films. So if you haven't seen either the Robert Shaw or the When I Rise film, you can also check those out on the replay tab as well.
Right. And the Robert Shaw movie, just a reminder, is only available through tonight. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, please do. So Sarah, I know it is Sarah and her colleague Adam that are making everything happen. And they have been so patient and so helpful. And I know it's fairly complicated, the platform that we're on. Sarah, is there, we sent out an email that you compiled yesterday that was a really helpful digest of kind of where to go for individual things. Is there anything you would say this morning to?
Yeah, I think a couple of the common questions that we got were about Hey Summit specifically, and how to kind of get into sessions and those sorts of things. Hey Summit tries to make it pretty easy, but sometimes it's a little not intuitive. So if you're ever having trouble getting into something and it's asking for your email address, just make sure that you're putting in the email address that you registered for the conference for whatever, words are hard. And then you should be able to access any session that you would like at that point. Sometimes it's going to have a little Watch Now button, and you're going to click that, and it's going to take you to Zoom Webinar. Other times you're going to click Watch Now, and it's going to take you to Vimeo, which was where our friends from London, chimed in yesterday, and will be in again today. Sometimes it's going to look like this, which is YouTube. So we're using all kinds of different platforms here, just to kind of make sure content is where it needs to be and people can see it where they need to see it. So I know we've also had a lot of questions about how to engage in chat. Sometimes that's a little bit complicated. So for the Mornings with Matt sessions, and anything that looks kind of like this is going to be a YouTube link. That means that if you want to participate in the live chat, like all of our folks who are chiming in right now, who I am kind of clicking on their little logos here to see what they're saying, you need a Google account to do that. So if you have Gmail or something like that, you just need to log in with that account, and it'll let you chat right along with everybody else, and you get to kind of have some conversation. With Vimeo, which is, again, where you'll see the Voces 8 stream a little bit later, it's a little different. You can log in with your Facebook account if you have a Facebook account and link it that way. You can also chat as a guest. So just when you're looking at the chat window, it'll appear kind of on the right-hand side there. Just pick the option that works best for you if you want to participate in the chat conversation this afternoon or this morning, whenever that is, today. For our folks in London, it'll be late this evening. So be sure to just jump in whatever way feels comfortable for you. I think those were kind of the main questions questions. But if you've got other questions, please let us know right now in comments if you're here. We'd love to know what worked, what didn't, what you're having trouble with, those sorts of things. We want this experience to be as smooth and easy for you as possible. So
thank you so much, Sarah. I'm so grateful for your help this week. I want to talk about a couple of overview things for the rest of the week, and then give plugs for the events that are going on today. First of all, a reminder, Albuquerque folks, if you have not, make a point of going into one of Quarter Celtic's 2 locations and mention Beer Choir, and you get a 20% discount on their 32-ounce crowlers, and then bring those to our Beer Choir event that Sarah and Adam are leading from the Twin Cities on Thursday evening. And we're so grateful to Quarter Celtic for sponsoring that. And then go ahead.
I can't promise that we're not gonna do silly things, but we're probably gonna do silly things. And so if you want to see Matt do something ridiculous, be sure to tune in to Beer Choir on Thursday.
That's great. They are well used to seeing me do things that are ridiculous. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because as many of you know, we've been doing Beer Choir in Albuquerque for a few years now, but the Twin Cities and Beer Choir, that's serious Beer Choir. So we're honored that they're going to be involved in it. And then another thing that you can be involved in has to do with looking ahead on Friday, what is the very last event of the session. And that's our good friend Ken Miedema, who's going to be leading us in a sing from his home in San Francisco. And I know many of you are familiar with Ken and what he does. But if you've never experienced Ken, there's kind of no way to describe him. He is a genius of a musician, a wonderful, soulful singer-songwriter, and he happens to be blind. And one of the things that Ken does in live performances, many of you are aware, is that he loves to get the audience involved in storytelling, and then he improvises songs in any style you can possibly imagine, responding to those stories. And Ken would very much love to have that be part of the experience on Friday. And so what we're going to ask is this. Ken would love to have stories having to do with your experiences in choir. Could be stories of experiences that were profound or things that went horribly wrong and were very funny. There's no particular specification about that. The category is stories about choir. And so we would love for you to submit those in a couple of different ways. What would be ideal would be a short video, like about a minute or two, ideally, that we can play for Ken in that session, or if necessary, ahead of that session. An audio file, just straight up audio, would also work. But again, we'd ask for you to keep it to about a minute or so. Or if you have a story you really want to tell and neither video nor audio are available to you, you can go ahead and type it as text. And if it's one of those that we have time for, we'll arrange for it to be read to him. So think about that. If you have a memorable story from choir, Ken would love to do something with that. And we have a deadline of those of Thursday, Sarah?
Yes. Sure. Thursday noon would be great.
Thursday noon is the deadline for stories for Ken, stories about choir. We would love to have you involved in that, and so would he. And Ken has been participating in all of the events this week so far. He texted me after the Alice Parker, Ann Jones, Kiki Wilson conversation last night and said, he feels so full up with what he's been experiencing. He already has material for a concert, but he also really wants your stories. So we have that to look forward to. That is Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, the closing event of our week. And so that looks great. So Sarah, shall we talk about today? What's going to happen after this?
There's lots of great stuff happening today. We've got a few different sessions. I personally am super excited for Maria Ellis's session, which is coming up first this morning. And that one is Don't Stop Singing, Ways to Keep Yourself Motivated to Sing During the Pandemic. Matt, I don't know about you, but if I'm not in choir, I don't sing much at home. It's really sad. Sometimes I'll sing along with the radio or something if I have on, but I'm not good about practicing my singing in this time. So I am looking forward to some helpful motivational tips and strategies from Maria a little bit later this morning.
Maria is a wonderful conductor from the St. Louis area, and she's just kind of a bundle of energy. And so she's bring to us this morning. And that is basically not long after we get off of this. That's at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Maria will be with us. And then the next thing that's happening is at noon Mountain Time, we will have that much awaited concert participatory choral experience from our friends in Voces 8. And they are, Paul Smith set us up really well for that yesterday. I'm so excited about this. And I happen to know they are too, because they, of course, have not had many opportunities since the lockdown to gather in the same space. And they have this absolutely spectacular space that is theirs to use for rehearsals, performances, and educational work. And basically, as I heard them tell the story, the Church of, as Barney told me once, the Church of England thinks we're nice, so they gave us a Christopher Wren church. And basically, yeah. Evidently, there are so many historic churches in London that the Church of England can't maintain all of them, and they were looking for nonprofits doing good work. And so they have had possession of this beautiful Christopher Wren church that was built after the fire in 1666 in London. An amazing acoustic, a beautiful space. And that's where they're going to be today for their session. And so they'll be doing singing for us. They'll be involving us in singing, as in some of the songs that Paul taught us yesterday. And so that's pretty exciting. I can't wait for that one.
I feel like we need a new hashtag for that, like hashtag Europe problems. Sorry, we just have this really old, beautiful church. Do you want it?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. We have several folks who are looking forward to Voces 8. I think, most anybody who has ears is looking forward to Voces 8. That is going to be great. Hasso says, I need some motivation to keep singing too. So yes.
Yeah. And the other thing they're going to be talking about is something that Paul alluded to yesterday. Many of you are aware, because they've been publicizing it the last couple of weeks, is they have come up with this amazing looking virtual concert series involving themselves and some of the other great a cappella groups in England. It's called Live from London. It's a series of 10 concerts beginning August 1st. And you buy them as a subscription package. And they've been very generous to us in that we are going to be able to offer them to you, the registrants of this festival, at a discount. And then they are also going to give a percentage of those funds back to Quintessence. So that's just crazy cool. And we will be sending an email later in the week with specific details about that and how you can sign up for that. So
that was super cool to learn yesterday. I was definitely bouncing up and down in my chair. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then what else today? Oh, at 3:00, and this is the other event today. We have a session about mental health and choral singing in the time of COVID-19, which I think is obviously very timely, and I think it's going to be wonderful. It's being led by two people, and the first is the Reverend Talitha Arnold, who is the pastor of the United Church of Santa Fe, up the road from us in Albuquerque, a wonderful, thoughtful writer and preacher, and someone that I know, like many of us, have been thinking about how to kind of keep a congregation and a choir together in times like these. And then the other person that's in on that is Bradley Ellingboe, who I suspect many of you know. He is fairly big name, or at least has been in the past, kind of a fairly big name. He is a conductor, a composer, prolific composer. And honestly, I asked him to be involved in the festival because he has some name recognition. And honestly, he's a friend. And, there are people that you feel like sometimes maybe they're a little bit past their prime or whatever, but you still want to help them out, kind of throw them a bone to see if they might, possibly be involved in what's.
Hello.
Brad.
Is this the right Zoom meeting?
What are you doing here?
Are you in the right place? I'm not. What?
Hello?
Sarah, did you invite him to this?
He's got a relative up the road who kicked me $100. So, sorry, Matt, but this is how it goes for you sometimes.
I've been watching from a distance, and yeah, thanks for the bone. And I just think this whole gig, everything you're doing, Alice Parker and Howard Jones, and whatever, Voces 8. It needs more cowbell.
You know, you always need more
dance
cowbell.
on one leg at a time, but after I do, I make hit records.
Exactly. Thank you. Well, since you're here, maybe we could chat a bit. This is Albuquerque folks know that Brad and I are old friends, and we have kind of this frenemy relationship that we like to play up whenever possible. We occasionally interrupt each other's.
my dear Fremini.
So
far, it's just
aluminium.
It's just straight up coffee.
Daryl wants to know, should we take up a collection for his hair product?
At two, Daryl.
Oh, the heckling.
Brad, in moderate seriousness, since you're here, this is a terrific session and a very timely session. What would you tell us about what you and Talitha are talking about today?
Well, Talitha and I work together. I'm the choir director at the United Church of Santa Fe, and we've been thinking about it a lot, as you've alluded to. It's not an easy time if your job involves getting groups of people together to emit spit globules into the air. So,
I've always thought of it in those terms, always, ever since I was a young choir director.
Yeah.
I wanna spit some globules today. Sign me up.
But as more than one expert has said, there's hardly anything you could design that would better spread the COVID virus than singing. So it has been tough. I think I myself have had a low level of grief for the last several months, and Talitha and I are trying to figure out how to do church, as I know you are at St. John's. And okay, I'm going to sneeze now with that. and
Brad loves our cats. Go ahead.
Yeah. They just hear my car coming and they go 2 houses away from yours.
It is true.
And so she and I had been talking about this anyhow, and how to address the problem. And so when Matt very kindly offered me a slot on this week's festival, I suggested that perhaps this could be the first time we had, launched our discussions and our thoughts. I mean, obviously, we're literally preaching to the choir, and we know that you all love singing, and that's why you are engaged in it. I mean, even the thin gruel of something Matt puts on is better than nothing. But no, we're going to try and give you some, not only some platitudes about why we should do it, but some thoughts about what we can do until such time as things open up again.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Brad, but I feel like I've been saying this a lot, we've kind of all gained a lot of skills we never wanted. And church is one thing, but also Brad is the founder and artistic director of ABQ Choral Luke's, a really wonderful chorus in town, actually the second best chorus in Albuquerque, if you must know. And I mean, I've been, as you have, thinking ahead to what's coming next, and I don't have a good answer for our singers or for our donors or our audience at this point. I think the key word that we're hearing from all of the choral organizations is it's going to have to be flexible. And Sarah, in her business now, is helping choirs think about that. But I just, what are you thinking these days about your season? If you don't have to give away any proprietary information, but we're all kind of in this boat.
Well, yeah, we in New Mexico, I'm sure is in general terms, like everywhere else, only the specifics might differ. Things were looking pretty good in the earlier part of the summer, and we didn't think we were out of the woods, but okay, if we keep going at this rate, maybe in the late fall we can do something, certainly in the spring. Then all of a sudden, we're seeing a spike in cases and things are shutting down again. And our fiscal year is from July to June, and so we just had our annual meeting at which we set the budget. And as you know from Quintessence, or anybody who's really setting any budget, let alone one based on ticket sales and donations, is you're really guessing. But you think, well, in December we'll do this program, and I think it'll be really popular because it's a famous piece. And in March we'll do something less well known. We'll probably make this much. And this whole time it's been like, and then when the magic fairy rides in on the unicorn, we will get our answer.
Yeah.
It just feels like, man, we're really just making it up now. And without giving away too much, because frankly, we don't know anything for sure.
Yeah.
We think the fall will be virtual, and keeping our fingers crossed that we could get back to singing together in March, but that's a total guess.
Yeah, I think we're thinking along the same lines, and it is. We are used to planning in terms of seasons and trying to do a nice structure for things and have some elegance around that, and it's just like, yeah, that's one of the hard things. Sarah, you're in Minnesota, and I don't know much, but my understanding is there are halfway decent choirs up there. What?
3? I don't know.
Among the choirs,
tradition recently came to that part of the world.
Yes, that's right.
Like within the last couple of years. Yeah.
So, what are you hearing up there among the choirs that are in your orbit?
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar kind of thing. Everybody's a little like, and I know a lot of people that I talk to and a lot of clients that I talk to, the question about a virtual event is it worth it, from a singer perspective? Is it worth it from an organizational perspective? And so there's a lot of these really hard questions about, the cost versus, a lot of organizations rely on ticket revenue or subscriptions or donations. And so it's hard to figure out how your model moves forward in this time where everything has to be virtual. And so, I think a lot of choirs up here are struggling with the same kind of thing and thinking about the similar kinds of timelines and watching the news with abject horror. It's definitely a hard time to be in this space, and a choral organization where people just want to get together and sing. And, it's not possible right now, but there are creative ways like Matt, this choral festival, I think is a great example of this, bringing people together in a virtual space in a meaningful way to learn from each other and to participate and chat and heckle. I mean, it brings some joy. So
More heckling.
More heckling, also more beer and singing, which will happen on Thursday, right? There are so many ways to gather in virtual spaces that aren't going to be the same. But I think the sooner that we're able to say, we will get back together again someday. And until then, let's try some stuff. Well, then let's continue that connection with one another in the best ways that we can, given the constraints that we live in. So, that's kind of what we're all talking about up here. Similar story.
If I can jump in, I am basically a glasses half full kind of guy until I drain it and then go get some more and fill it up. But there are two thoughts. On my bad days, I think, well, the people that come to concerts like ours, oftentimes, or percentage-wise, are in their 60s, and so, I mean, that's where I am. You've maybe got a little more money. You're done raising your kids, or you've got time in the evening. It's different than when you're 27. And those are the kind of people that might say, well, gosh, I mean, it's great that you're putting on a concert, but I'm still kind of worried about being in a room with a lot of people.
Right.
And yet, conversely, I think that maybe like other big things like the Depression or the wars or something like that, this is our chance to refocus and say, yeah, there's a lot of extraneous stuff in our life, but this is really important, and this I'm going to make time for. And that's my glass half full. That's my hope.
Yeah, love it. I love it.
Alice Parker said much the same thing last night, and that was so lovely to hear from her because, of course, Alice is 94 and still Alice, and she has seen a lot. She said she'd never seen anything like this in her time as a performing musician and as a composer, but she just basically said singing is and always will be. And, as the Queen said in her address a couple months ago, we will see each other again, and we just need to hang on to that. This is a temporary situation.
Yeah.
So,
Matt, were you aware that you went international?
I was not.
You have Rennie from Canada who said
I did
$75 Canadian dollars. That's awesome.
Thanks,
Yep.
Rennie. That is awesome.
Rennie.
I did notice that we had a registrant from Ontario, and I wonder if that's Rennie. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then Martin says, let's title our first concert next spring "Beer and Heckling." I totally agree. That would be an excellent concert.
Martin sings in both our groups, so he can say that. But I just wanted to one small thing, and thanks to Rennie in Canada. But Matt, I'm not sure if you are aware of the exchange rate. 75 Canadian. That's $12.
It's a bucket and a half.
And going down.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Oh, man. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, thanks, Brad, for joining us. I, wish I'd had some notice, but that's kind of just the way it is with you. And before we go this morning and get ready for Maria's session at 10 a.m., we need to give away a prize, as we're doing every morning. And this morning we are giving away a Quintessence coffee mug, not this particular coffee mug, but a different coffee mug. And so we have
we almost got a spit take. We almost got a spit take.
We almost got I should have set it up for a spit take. Oh man, next time.
For God's sake, could you please wash it before you give it away?
So there's a trivia question. So get your fingers poised over the keyboard. This is this morning's trivia question, and the first person who types in the correct answer will receive a coffee mug much like this one with a fantastic Quintessence logo.
This is the most stressful part of my day because I have to watch and make sure I get the right person because coffee mug is high stakes.
Okay, so
I'm ready.
Yesterday, Paul Smith taught us a wonderful original arrangement of the Beatles tune "Here Comes the Sun" that we're going to get to do with Voces 8 this afternoon in their session live from London. My question is simply, what Beatles album did "Here Come the Sun" appear on?
We're also working with a little bit of a delay in our stream.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is going to take a minute. It's not that people don't know, I'm sure. Mary Compton says Abbey Road.
Abbey Road, correct. Mary Compton.
Hey.
Mary Compton, good job. So
Excellent.
I expect that we have your address in the registration, but Mary, send me an email to matt@quintessence-abq.com, and we will send you a brand new Quintessence coffee mug. Congratulations. Thank you for playing. We will be giving away more prizes tomorrow morning. So thank you to my friends and colleagues, Sarah Langworthy and Bradley Ellingbo. You'll be able to see Brad's session today at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. And we will reconvene for Maria Ellis' Don't Stop Singing at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So thanks, friends.
Bye.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you.
So much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.